I really didn't know what to expect going into it.
It's hard to prepare, like, what the experience is going to be like.
No amount of words can show the love and the family and the community that came from this experience.
I've only been out of the country one other time before this, and this was a very different experience from that one. It was probably the best experience of my entire life.
I think I just really remember when we first got there, we were just so welcomed. I think one of our crew members told the kids, like, you need to get 5 hugs from everybody. Like, that was the goal, get 5 hugs. And so, like, immediately when we got there, we hugged pretty much every kid. And I feel like that kind of set the tone for the entire trip. It was definitely a very loving community that we were in, and they always wanted to play, whether it was playing soccer or getting on our shoulders and jumping to touch the tarp or playing a baseball game with the older kids. It was a very loving trip from start to finish, and I was really shocked by how much I was so sad to leave, but that love really stayed from beginning to end.
Esto es Prique, mi amigo, y Prique y su esposa Juana. He and his wife Juana have this nonprofit and this orphanage that they run, and so we're here to create more room for more kids who need a place to live. The main thing that we're always trying to do is to get students to see what life looks like in another country and how life is lived in a way that's completely different from what we see in the United States. And we tend to be in a lot of remote areas, a lot of poor areas, and that's the real value of being able to do this.
So like the very first day when we got there, we all saw our different rooms and we all joined in, and all the kids came running in, and they were so happy and just screaming and showing us signs, and they were so welcoming.
They were so sweet. And then they went around and hugged all of us and jumped on our stuff and played in our bed, and I was like, yep, now they're a part of our home and we're a part of theirs, and it was just a part of the community. Like, I never really felt like I was staying in a hotel or staying like on a vacation. It was like, felt like it was our home for a week.
It was just an experience and a moment that I would never forget. I kept remembering the phrase when they kept saying like, mi casa es tu casa, which is like, my house is your house.
The vibes are
good.
big family sleepover.
Yeah.
It's
giving a big family
It's giving family sleepover.
I think I definitely got closer with the OSU student athletes and staff that went on the trip. We all got to experience this together and live in some close quarters, but I wouldn't change anything for the world. I think that was probably the best way we could have done it. Just being able to grow not only closer with this community that we had no idea we were even going into, no idea what to expect, but we just instantly connected with them, and 2 cultures became one family.
They made us feel very welcome and making sure it felt like our home as well.
It gave me a lot of perspective of just like, time moves slow. Everyone was smiling. Like, your possessions didn't mean anything. It was all about the joy of life and the love of God and of community and family. And I think that was something that was like so touching.
The joy and the love that just surrounded the community was just an experience that I think you can't describe in words.
I love the work. I was really excited to because I feel like the work, you see everything you're doing. Like, every day, the walls got higher. And the task got more challenging because now, instead of doing it on the ground, you're standing on these not regulated or safe stilt thingies that are wobbling, and you have to pull a cementer box over your head and on. What we were doing, I look back and I'm like, the fact that no one got hurt, I'm very impressed with.
There's like yawned before they wrote. More?
I have never done any construction or anything in my life. I've like never picked up a hammer, but it was a lot of hard work. We did a lot of pulling ropes and buckets of concrete and dirt, and learned how to level out bricks and make sure everything was straight.
I wouldn't say the work was necessarily terribly physically hard, but they were just like long days in the sun, and then after that you go straight with playing with the kids, and it's like you get to choose your tired. Like, this is nowhere near to like the most tired I felt, because there's so much joy in everything you're doing. Like, it was never not fun. Music was always going, kids were always around, and people were always smiling. So it wasn't easy work, but I definitely would love to stack some more cinder blocks and use a level again.
One of the things that the students always notice is they say, I'm always amazed at the kids, right? They might not even have shoes, they don't have much of anything, and they're always so happy. Everybody is happy. And Father Cesar said to them one year, he says, one of the important things that you learn here is that poverty does not equal sorrow. And that's a huge lesson, right? People make lives that are meaningful and impactful and are joyous, even if they don't have a lot of wealth.
They were really excellent and just always finding something to do. They were never bored. They were always active and running around. And I really think it's just amazing. And while I was there, I feel like I didn't really think about it all that much, because I was like, this is just the normal. That was just like what it was.
They don't have phones, they don't have TVs, they don't have video games. They play with each other and they play with us, and they have so much joy from that. And that's all they need. All they need is each other. And I think that that's a really beautiful thing that they don't even know that they're spreading to the people around them.
It's like the littlest things, like a piggyback ride or playing volleyball, playing tag. I sat with one little girl and made a consistent handshake that did not stop for 15 minutes straight. It's just those little moments that are like just us together, creating games, kicking around dirt, like helping each other out and teaching each other words in English and Spanish. It was so much fun.
They just wanted to play and just hang out with us.
We did a lot of different side quests, I guess, while we were in the Dominican Republic, and I think they all brought a different level of like knowledge and excitement to the experience.
The days went by so slow, and I don't know how to describe it, but like we did so much, and I was just like so beyond grateful. And I think being able to see the things that like we went to the agricultural fields, and growing up on a farm and being in agriculture, I realized that like jobs are created and lifestyles can be run around these farms. And I just think of like, it just gave me a new like desire to like look beyond just like what's around me and like appreciate that type of like thing that I'm interested in studying, but now seeing it in a different country and how it's providing for these people was really cool.
Playing baseball with these kids who do this every day, they crushed us in every way, but it was so much fun just being a part of their community and a part of their culture. And baseball is such a big part of the culture in the Dominican Republic, and so being able to see that pan out was so incredible. That was a really cool experience to be able to just immerse myself in something that I don't usually do, something that's a little bit outside my comfort zone.
I feel like everyone thinks like all Latin culture is like Mexican food. It was like so different, like plantains every morning, eggs with every meal. The avocados were the best avocados I ever had in my entire life.
Every meal we had huge portions of just native food from their country, and it was definitely different than anything that I think any of us have ever had, but they made every single meal with love, and they made every single meal just incredible. And you know, they made sure that we had everything we needed, and if we wanted something that they had made another day, you know, they'd make it for us, and they just made sure that we were fed, we weren't hungry. We got to pray just all together before every meal, which I thought was a really cool experience. Whether or not you're religious, I think that that was just a place that we could all come together and just be grateful for the food that we have and just the experience that we all get to be a part of.
We finally got to the end day. I thought I'd be excited. I'm like, everybody loves to return to their own bed at the end of a trip, and so I was like, it's gonna be good. But then I was like, no way, we're actually leaving. Since we had such a week of bonding and talking with them and feel like being a part of their childhood, but we were actually only there for a week, and then we're gone. And so I think that to me was really sad.
I think for me, I kind of told myself, you know, it was last day, so I had like no emotion. I was kind of numb, and I was kind of like looking around, and I'm like, wow, like, you know, the kids always said like the Americans come, but they come and go, and they never come back. And that hit me because I like thought about it. I was like, I want to come back here, but like honestly, like if you think about it, it's easy to get in, especially in the American lifestyle, it's easy to get carried away. And I just remember that day, like seeing these kids crying and like not even just like tears, like bawling, crying. It was just kind of like, wow, like the impact that we made on them was great, but the impact that they made on me, I just like, I couldn't even feel it all. Like I can't really grasp it. And honestly, like sometimes it's hard to sit in it because it's like, it's so emotional. It's so kind of raw. And it's honestly like you realize, you know, we live in a small world at times, and other times it's such a big world.
It was really hard for everybody involved. I think as much as maybe it can be perceived that we helped them, they helped us, I think, so much more. You know, they gave us a sense of community. They allowed us into their homes and just allowed us to be a part of, you know, their everyday life. And they definitely didn't have to do that. And so leaving that, it was really hard, but honestly, I'm really grateful that it was that hard because it just shows that you've built such a strong connection with these kids in this community in such a short amount of time that it's beautiful how hard it was because of just the incredible relationships that you've built.
Yeah, that last day, I was not prepared for that feeling that I had. When we first came in there, I wasn't sure I was going to be able to build that strong of connection with all of those kids, and that last day was probably one of the hardest days. I've never cried as hard as I did until that day, and all those kids were just so sweet, and we hung out with them like every single day. I would wake up and they'd be in my room already, and they'd stay up in our rooms all the way until like 1 a.m. just wanting to play with us and talk to us. And saying goodbye to them was really, really hard. They were super sad. They were all crying, and we were crying, and it's just really hard to know that we probably won't ever be able to see them again. And after building those connections, it's really hard to say bye.
I think it's out of most people's comfort zones going into a foreign country and not knowing what to expect and going into work and to maybe a language you don't speak. But honestly, I would say that it is one of the most incredible experiences you can do.